here's what I think is really dope. The open dialogue about what people like about the figure and what people don't like about the figure so far. I think that's important. This is an important lesson for you young people out there. Whenever you're in a debate, your debate shouldn't be about who's right or who's wrong, but the subject should be about what's right and what's wrong. That being said, let me get into my backstory. So just hang with me for a minute because I'm driving out here on the road. Also, I'll probably talk in circles. But here's my thoughts, right? So let's start at the beginning, right? Let's be totally honest now. When it comes to DC action figures, historically, they haven't been great, right? When Mattel had the license, and if you look at that period when they had it, the action figures never evolved. They never had any ankle rockers, and they had the clown feet, right? And the posability was extremely basic. You know, I kind of felt like they made a strong push towards the end, but by that time when they were losing that license to McFarlane, or they were selling it, however it works, it was too little too late. That being said, you know, if you look at their competition, Hasbro action figures have evolved, right? From the Toy Biz to by the time they got it into where they are now. I feel like we've never got that in a 6-inch action figure form from any like DC toys, right? So even I was talking to somebody about this the other day that what was it, DC Collectibles, and they became DC Direct, and they became DC Collectibles. Like if you remember, like when they produced their action figures in the 6-inch line, they had the extremely waxy faces, the articulation sucked. But I think most people that I talked to, we all agree that DC Icons probably could have been the best DC action figure of all time. They were just too small. The accessories that they came with and the looks, they were dope. They're just, you know, like I said, once again, reiterate, they're just extremely too small. So now let's fast forward to Todd McFarlane. I think Todd is hit or miss, but I kind of feel like, you know, like you have to give toy companies room to grow. And I think it just really kind of pisses me off because, man, especially when you do action figure photography or anything like that, you don't want anything above the 6-inch line because most dioramas and most accessories are scaled to that 6-inch line, unless maybe you go, what is that, the 3 3/4 inch. But like I said, when it comes to the action figure photography world and even stop motion, most people are doing that in the 6-inch line. You know, McFarlane has the 7-inch line, and then I think a lot of times they look dope, but they lack paint detail, they're too tall, and they lack accessories. You know, like it's ridiculous how I don't know, I heard somewhere how, you know, certain figures, because of WB, the licensing or however that works, they don't want, you know, like say somebody like Grifter or Red Hood, those action figures, you know what I mean, coming packaged with weapons, which sucks because it's like, you know, those characters, they're known for carrying handguns and things like that. But anyway, I digress. So now let's get back to this McFarlane Superman that just recently dropped, and I'll give you my backstory. So when it comes to McFarlane Toys, I jumped on this bandwagon late because in the very beginning I had a hard time trying to process an action figure with cloth goods. That was beyond my comprehension. I was like, that looks weird. But I did like the Captain America, the classic and the ultimate. I remember classic cap that they just dropped is perfect except for the shield. But anyway, back to Mezco, right? And I remember when they saw him, I was like, man, Daredevil's one of my favorite characters. I wasn't feeling that. And then also, I couldn't see myself spending $80 on an action figure. Maybe a couple years ago, I purchased, the Batman Supreme Knight. And I was like, like I seen it out of package. I'm like, this shit's dope. And I remember going home that night and I was like, man, do I really want to spend $85 on an action figure? But every time I would walk into this toy store and I would see it behind the glass, and I would go home and I kept thinking about it. I was like, I gotta buy it. So that led me down a trail like, okay, well, let me see what else they have out there. By the time I started collecting DC and the Mezco line, the Joker, the classic Joker, and that deluxe version, it was too damn expensive. So I ended up getting the punk rocker looking one, and also to match him, I got that Playing for Keeps Harley Quinn, and I really love those action figures. I love how it's like a refreshing young take or a new take on classic characters, and they did it in their own unique way. Anyway, let me get to it. So I went from there, I backtracked, and I got Two-Face, and I think that figure's so dope, but the only thing that kind of bothers me about that figure, it's extremely waxy. Then other figures started growing on me, like that Aquaman. I had to get him in Green Lantern. I thought they were kind of boring at first because they come with limited accessories, because in my mind, and I think we can all agree, is that Mezco are 6-inch Hot Toys, right? And I had one of my homeboys, he collected Hot Toys or whatever. That being said, I kind of feel like once you start getting there, and what is that? Those premium statues, everything underneath that is kind of like, there's no need to collect it, because that is the elite, the high end of collecting. Anything underneath that is just like whatever. But anyway, so that being said, I kept telling myself, I say all this to say, like, man, I really want a really dope representation of DC characters, because I do action figure photography and I make videos, but I'm tired of doing Marvel Legends. Everybody does it. And I'll say this, if I'm being honest, growing up, it's like this. I love both intellectual properties. Let me just say that first off. But I've always been a bigger fan of Marvel growing up, because they were flawed people with superpowers. And what I loved about Marvel is just because you had superpowers, it didn't make your life better. They were everyday people and they lived in real world cities. So the relatability for me was there. But I always loved Super Friends growing up. I'm a 70s baby, 80s kid. Justice League, cartoon that dropped in 2001. Superman and Batman are extremely iconic characters. They're two of my favorites. But anyway, so that's why I was like, man, I did not pre-order this figure, and it was an impulsive buy. And I was like, shit, let me jump on it, because I know that store only carried 2 of them, because I didn't want to get sold out, and I didn't want to look down the road like things I should have pulled the trigger on, especially Mezco. We don't know how limited they are, and I didn't want to be paying double and triple the price when I could have gotten it at that price, right? But it wasn't until I was like, okay, I came home and I was so excited, so I looked on YouTube and I wanted to see, like, yo, man, what's the dude's name? D-Nice or any of these cats, what's his name? Whatever, you know what I'm talking about. And the elite toy reviewers, right? I wanted to see if they'd done anything. I was like, okay, this is my opportunity to do something. But as you can see, I'm a trucker and I work close to 70 hours a week. So it's like, I don't know if you have anybody who's a truck driver in your family, but this consumes a lot of your life. Anyway, I digress, back to the main point. So when I started posting my pictures in the Mezco group, somebody had pointed out, and I didn't even think about it until they brought it up, how the promo pictures and the actual pictures look extremely different. And I man, because I remember that's what sold me on this figure. Because I remember when I saw the toy reviews on the original Superman, the classic Superman that Mezco dropped, I was like, damn, man, what's his name? It looked nice. I was like, damn, it's right, man. It looks extremely disproportionate and short. I don't want that in my collection. But when they showed the Man of Steel edition, he looked all powerful and swole and so on and so forth, right? I was like, yeah, I gotta get that. I can't wait. Because I got that dark side on for Steel. I think I got him for $50 at a comic book store. And they were just like liquidating assets. And I was like, hell yeah. So I was like, okay, well, let me start trying to build up my Justice League collection. Certain characters I'm okay with not getting. That Green Lantern is too damn expensive. I was never feeling that Flash Mezco toy. It looks like somebody in their pajamas, but that's my opinion. Anyway, moving forward, back to the main subject at hand. Hold on, I'm passing another truck. I'm on some windy ass roads. Oh shit. So anyway, so when it came to the Man of Steel action figure, and I looked at the pictures, I was like, damn, man, I am a little disappointed. So all the folks out there that are, complaining and things like that, man, I'm with you. I get it, but I still like the action figure, oddly enough, and I'll break down why. So the thing is, right, like somebody had asked me in the comments to do an action figure comparison with the Sovereign Knight and that Superman. And take my word for it, I tried it last night, but my throat was all jacked up. But anyway, take my word for it. The Sovereign Knight is a little bit taller than the Man of Steel Superman. And that being said, so is Aquaman. And they're broader, they're more muscular in the torso than Superman. Because this Superman is a little, well, he is on the slender side. Let's just call it what it is. And but he is taller than, what do I have? John Stewart, Green Lantern. Anyway, so that does disappoint me. But I'm not a toy customizer. I don't have a degree in design or engineering. But my thought process is when I'm looking at the action figure, right? It's like maybe they put him on this slender body because we can get more articulation. I own quite a few Mezcos. I'm somewhere in the double digits now. But the most fluid, imposable Mezco that I own is actually the Vapors figure. And I'm not saying Superman is as slender or as skinny as that Vapors figure. But in terms of fluidity, imposability, I'm going to say he's somewhat on par with that Vapors figure. And one thing that's extremely interesting about the Superman figure too, is like I didn't get a chance to point out, is that most Mezco figures have the ball joint within the neck. This Man of Steel edition actually has the ball joint in the head socket. That allows Superman's head to go all the way up to get him into flight poses. And that's the one thing, out of all the Superman figures that I've owned, the DC icons, I'm sure I had the tail joints back in the day, the McFarlane, his first rendering of the Superman action figure. And let's see, did I see DC icons already? But whatever, right? The point is, excuse me. But the thing is, it's like, okay, with the Superman action figure, the one thing that we constantly complain about, whether we're trying to pose him on the shelf or, we're trying to take pictures with him, is that we can't get him in a proper flight pose. With that being said, this Man of Steel edition gives you that, right? And but I'll say this too, and I think, if enough people complain, right, and like I see a lot of people canceling their pre-orders, whether you guys do it or not, but I kind of feel like, if you notice, Mezco has a pattern of giving certain characters a trilogy, right? They'll give them a repaint. So I bet you, I'm willing to bet that Mezco is going to do a Mezco exclusive Superman with changeable Superman emblems and changeable heads. But But here's the thing, they'll probably give us an extremely young Superboy head, or they'll give us maybe an Eradicator head, or an old man Superman. What was that? Kingdom Come Superman, or I can't remember where he had the great temples. But the cool part is they'll have to probably backtrack and buy the Man of Steel Superman edition in order to get those heads to pop it on that body. And then I was thinking about the emblem, right? And this is just my opinion. I don't know if any of you guys own the Sovereign Knight Shadow Edition. What is it? Shadow Edition, which is all black. It's the Supreme Knight in the all black uniform. And also, what is the other one? Maybe I got them confused, but there's another one in the blue and gray. I own them both, right? And they have you can change out Batman's emblems, you know, to give them a different look. But the messed up thing about it is that if you leave those emblems on too long, they have a tendency, well, no, not they do have a tendency, but they will leave the impressions into the chest. So it would concave, and you can see in the magnet the pattern where the symbol is. So I'm thinking, you know, if they gave us that third trilogy or whatever, they would go that route. Keep in mind, maybe that's why they didn't give us that emblem or whatever, because, you know, like the magnets, maybe it'll leave an indentation. I don't know. That's just me speculating, right? Just taking a wild guess. Anyway, but like I said, man, it's like I realize, you know, like no toy company is going to be perfect. And, you know, I think about the Sovereign Knight edition of Batman, right? I'm just throwing this out. This is a sidebar. You know, the black and gray one. I love black and gray Batman. It makes perfect sense to me in a realistic world. You know, you want to be, if you're hiding in the shadows and coming out the alleys, you want something dark instead of something blue and gray. The reason why I chose that, man, I'll talk about that in another video. But anyway, those are just my thoughts on the Mezco Man of Steel edition of Superman. And, you know, like I said, and like I've been telling people this, you know, I don't love the figure, but I happen to like it. And, you know, like I feel like Mezco are just, it's that action figure line that you really have to kind of see up close and personal and have it in your hand to figure out if it's for you or not. Because sometimes pictures don't do it justice. Sometimes videos don't necessarily do a figure justice, right? I'll just give you another sidebar before I get about it here, right? Because I'm at 18 and a half minutes. And I hope this shit is going through. Because I'm in no man's land. It's like with that Tiger Stripe Wolverine that they just dropped recently. I think it's super dope, right? And when I seen it up close and personal, it took everything in me. Because I'm pretty impulsive not to buy that. But I think the one things that kind of, I love all the accessories that it comes with, but I think the two things that deterred me from buying that figure, and I'm not knocking it, man, he's just too damn tall. It looks super dope and everything like that, but man, I want my Wolverine short and stocky. And then, you know, Anthony Customs, it's like, does that cat have anything positive to say? But I will give him his props, man. He's like the only one that really goes hard and scrutinizes a figure, right? When he was like, hey, there's no posability. I'm like thinking to myself, like, damn, man, I don't want to spend that much money just to have a Wolverine statue sitting up in there in a collection where he doesn't really fit in. Because, like, sometimes what kind of irritates me is, like, certain lines, like when people, like, take toy photography, like, no way in hell, you know, that Mezco Wolverine fits in with the Marvel Legends, the 90s Jim Lee inspired Marvel Legends. So that's why I was like, hey man, I just let it go. But I did buy that Sentinel accessory when people like piece them off, and it looks dope in some of my action figure photography displays. But anyway, yo,